Welcome to our evening international information session for all of our international students. If you're local or abroad, we welcome you to BCIT. We'll be speaking to you on 3 different points this evening. And I'll be starting off first. My name is Michael Galley. I'm the Manager of International Recruitment and Admissions. If we could switch to the next slide, please. So I'll tell you a little bit about BCIT. BCIT was founded in 1964. It is one of Canada's largest post-secondary institutions. We have annually approximately 48,000 to 50,000 students who are enrolled, including 6,500 international students who come from over 100 countries every year. It changes a little bit, but we in the last couple of years, we've had students from over 115 countries. To date, we've graduated over 185,000 students, and they are the people who run our city and our province here in British Columbia. BCIT is an institute that provides practical education, and when you graduate from BCIT, the options for employment are very good for you. Next slide, please. So where is British Columbia? If you're here already, well, you know, but if you're abroad in another country viewing us, then you'll want to know that Vancouver is in British Columbia. British Columbia is the province to the far west of Canada. Canada is a very big country. As you can see, we're down in the south part of the province. The capital city of British Columbia is Victoria, which is on Vancouver Island, which can sound a little bit confusing sometimes. It's a short ferry ride from Vancouver, about an hour and a half, and you get to beautiful Vancouver Island. But the British Columbia Institute of Technology is situated in the city of Vancouver. Next slide, please. What is unique about BCIT? Well, first of all, we have small class sizes. So if you are going into a highly technical program, like the aircraft maintenance engineering program, then your class size will be 16 and no more. In a School of Business program, you may get up to 28 students in a class, but that is the maximum. That kind of small class size is really important for us because the hands-on experience, the practical experience that you get at BCIT requires that you have lots of one-on-one time with your instructors. Hands-on learning. So again, this is a defining feature of BCIT. We teach you half-time, we make you practice half-time. So it's 50% theory, 50% practice. We teach you, we make you practice, and this is why when you graduate, you are graduating with skills, not only the knowledge. Another very important feature of our programs is that our instructors all must come with industry experience. So you cannot graduate from university with a PhD and come to teach at BCIT. You must have worked in your industry. And again, that's a very important factor because when you are in class with somebody who knows not just the theory and the practice, but also what happens out in that industry, then you are really learning from somebody who can teach you more than more than the theory, more than the classroom experience. You'll be receiving a better understanding of what it means when you graduate and start your first job. And finally, the last factor that I'd like to bring up is the program advisory committees. Another thing that makes BCIT very unique. Every program at BCIT has a program advisory committee, and those are comprised of individuals from companies around the Vancouver area. They come to meet with our faculty twice a year to advise on what is changing in that industry. And therefore, our faculty can modify their curriculum, modify the programs to make sure that they are teaching, what they are teaching is what industry wants. And this is why industry companies around British Columbia, why they value BCIT graduates so much. And that's why when you graduate again, you are career ready. Next slide, please. So the postgraduate employment rates at BCIT are extremely high, of course. Again, that's really one of the basic premises of BCIT, that we prepare you for the job market. So when you graduate with a 2-year diploma, 91% of our students will find a job within the first 3 months after graduation. Next slide, please. If you graduate with a bachelor degree, your options for employment go up even higher. So 98% of our degree graduates will find employment within the first few months of graduation. And again, there's a question always in my mind, why is it 91% for the diplomas? Well, I think very simply, when you consider that at BCIT, a 4-year degree, you start first with a 2-year diploma. Many of the students graduate from the 2-year diploma, go out and find a job, but many of them will also continue on to complete a bachelor degree with 2 more years of study. So that's why the postgraduate employment rates are slightly lower in the diploma level. And next slide, please. A little bit about the programs. We do have over 300 programs at BCIT, but only about half of those are available to international students. And the areas of study are business and media, computer information tech, engineering, health sciences, transportation, and then we have many trades-related programs. The next slide, please. Admissions requirements. So if you're thinking of applying to BCIT, we just started accepting applications on October 1st. And what you need to know when you visit our website and you have chosen a program, you have to click on the program entry in the right side menu. If you could advance that right there. And then again, please. It'll take you to the next page. Next slide, please. And you'll see here the application processing. This is very important because some programs are competitive entry. You'll see a start date, October 1st, and a deadline for applications on April 30th. Now, for the competitive entry programs, the deadline for applications will vary from program to program. But again, it is competitive entry, so you are competing against the other international students who apply to the program. And then if you look at the entrance requirements, you'll see that English is always a requirement for all programs. And then in a program like biomedical engineering technology, there's also math, chemistry, and physics. And these are all high school grade 11 or grade 12 scores. Next slide, please. Compare that to one of the programs that are not competitive entry model. This is what we call first qualified, first accepted. General insurance and risk management is an excellent program. And if you look at the application processing, you'll see it is open to applications beginning October 1st or the next business day. If October 1st is a Sunday, it would be then October 2nd. However, there is no deadline. So that means the program will continue to accept applications until we have filled all of the seats, and then we'll generate a small wait list, and then we'll close the program to applications. And in the School of Business and other program areas, you'll notice that the only requirements are English and math. And the English requirements are always on the website. They're indicated in the grade 12 high school grades, as well as the math. But if you are an international student and you're second English is your additional language, then you would probably be taking an IELTS or a TOEFL or one of the other standardized tests. Next slide, please. And you can see what the different test options are. The Canadian Academic English Language Test, the CAEL, it's a 70 requirement. IELTS 6.5, TOEFL 86, the Pearson Test of English 60, the Cambridge Assessment of English, it's a C1 level, and we are still accepting the Duolingo temporarily until further notice. So if you're applying soon and you have a Duolingo score of 115, then you would qualify for the program. The next slide, please. And then now I'll pass it over to my colleague, Tracy Wong, who will tell you about International Student Services at BCIT. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight or today, depending on where you're joining us from. At BCIT, international students have access to a great number of services, resources, and facilities. In this presentation, I'm going to highlight the services and support for international students provided by the International Student Centers team. Next one, please. To help students prepare to succeed in your studies at BCIT, we host international orientation events each term. To get information you need as a new international student, we also have additional resources available online for you to explore at your convenience and at your own pace. Next one, please. We offer various info sessions like tonight's one or today's one and special events to international students. You can join our virtual social gathering, workshop, or info session to get information you need and stay informed. These events provide good opportunity to connect with the BCIT community and meet other international students, whether in your program or other programs. Next one. It is important for international students to understand the immigration requirements, the various types of permits and visas that may be required, and what responsibility that you will have. Make sure to visit our permits, visas, and status page to acquire information and the knowledge you would need. In addition, as an international student, you are responsible to maintain the appropriate valid status in Canada at all times. Next one, please. It is also important to understand different types of medical insurance that you need while studying in Canada. Basic medical insurance coverage is mandatory for all international students throughout your studies at BCIT. To navigate through all the information you need, be sure to visit our medical insurance pages at the bottom of this slide. There is a link to that page. Next one, please. During your studies, you may need a letter from BCIT for several reasons. This could be extending your study permit or your temporary resident visa, inviting your family to visit Canada, applying for work, or applying for a post-graduation work permit. To understand the different letters available for you and verify if you meet all eligibility requirements to request a letter, you can visit our International Letters of Verification page. Next slide, please. At the International Student Center, in collaboration with BCIT Student Association, we offer international peer mentoring program that is available for international students during the first term at BCIT. In this program, an international peer mentor will provide guidance and support to a small group of international students throughout the first few months of the term. It is a great program that helps new students transition to life at BCIT and make meaningful social interaction and connections. Next one. We want you to know that currently the International Student Center team are working remotely, but we are here and ready to support you. You can reach us by phone or email. We encourage you to check out our website at bcit.ca/international for a wealth of information and available resources. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you. Up next, Roger is going to present International Credential Evaluation Service. Roger.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Welcome and hello, everyone. Next slide. Welcome and hello, everyone. My name is Roger Herr. I'm the manager of the International Credential Evaluation Service. We are located at BCIT. We are the provincially mandated service in British Columbia. We actually make up an organization called the Alliance of Credential Evaluation Services across Canada, where there are 5 different members. There's 1 in Alberta, there are 3 in Ontario, and there's 1 in Quebec. And so we are one of the services that represent British Columbia. So what we do is we produce and prepare reports for credential evaluation. It could be for various methods or uses. It could be for employment, licensure, registration, post-secondary admission, and most importantly, immigration as well. So next slide, please. So these are some of the factors that we look at when we're evaluating credentials. We look at the authenticity of documents. We look at the minimum credential that one must hold in order to be admitted to the program, or the admission requirements. We look at the level and duration of the program. We look at the program of study to which the credential provides access. So for example, if an individual has a bachelor's degree, does that give them access to a master's degree? And then finally, we look at the recognition of the institution and the program within the home country. Next, please. We have many different types of reports, but these are the types of reports that we mainly focus on. We have 2 specific streams. We have a general report, which is split into a basic or a comprehensive. Generally speaking, for BCIT's purposes, you will have to clarify which type of report that you need, but by and large, the comprehensive is the report that you need, because BCIT needs to see your courses, the courses that you've completed, in order for them to make an assessment for admission. The other main report that we do is actually almost eclipsing, it's actually very much eclipsing the work that we do for general, and it's the evaluation that we do for immigration. It's called the Educational Credential Assessment for Express Entry. And right now, those are our different timelines that we're working with. So basic report takes about 4 weeks to complete, a comprehensive 7, and an ECA 16 weeks currently. Next, please. So there are fees associated with our service. We charge on a per credential method. So for example, if an individual needs a basic report and they have 2 different credentials, let's say a bachelor's and a master's degree, it would be $128 times 2. And all the fees that are charged are indicated in that way. So for example, if you have a question with regards to which credential that you want evaluated, we generally recommend to have your highest level credential evaluated, but that may differ according to what your individual goal is. So for example, let's say that as an individual, you have a bachelor's degree in computer graphics, and then you also have a master's degree in chemistry, and you are obviously looking for a job in computer graphics, you would most likely have your your computer graphics bachelor evaluations evaluated in order to meet the requirements for that particular job. So those are our fees that are listed. And again, as I mentioned before, we charge on a per credential basis. Thank you. Next, please. So you may wonder what type of documents that you require. It does depend on the individual's end goal. So for all our ECAs, individuals must submit official documents. Official documents meaning the documents coming directly from the source institution or the licensing body or the actual government body that's responsible for that type of credential. For China, for example, we expect to see verification coming directly from CGDGC. But from other institutions, let's say you went to an American school and you went to Berkeley and you have a bachelor's degree, you would want to have those documents verified to be sent directly from Berkeley to our office. Now, again, the document requirements vary depending on the type of evaluation that you're having done and the purpose for what you're having done. If it's for general employment, we require original documents. And original documents consist of your completion certificate, usually your diploma or certificate or degree, something that you hang on your wall, accompanied with the translations. Accompanied with transcripts. Now, if the documents are not in English or French, they must be accompanied with a certified translation. And to get a certified translation in BC, you can actually contact and find language of specificity at www.stibc.org, and you can find certified translations there, or translators there. Next, please. So the way we designate documents is quite simple, actually. A document that has been issued by your school and that's in your possession, we deem as an original document. So usually these documents are have some sort of security feature. They're either they have seals, stamps. They may have a hologram. They may have all different kinds of features listed within the document themselves. Now, if that document then originates directly from the school and is sent to our office, without the integrity of that chain being broken, we consider that official. So, for example, we would check to see whether or not a document had arrived directly from the school and not had been intercepted by another relative or another family member or friend. We would make sure that the integrity of the chain has been unbroken. So in order for that to happen, we need documents to come directly from the institution or the official authority. Now, you may wonder why we have to do that. Now, some of the organizations that we deal with require this. So especially for ECAs, especially for immigration, this is a requirement. And for many of our licensing bodies and regulatory bodies, that is the requirement as well. Generally, for employment purposes, as long as somebody has the original documents, we can usually proceed with the evaluation. And generally, for BCIT in general, we need only original documents in order to proceed with an evaluation. Next, please. So those are our 3 emails that are listed. If individuals do have questions that didn't have an opportunity to ask during the Q&A, we're happy to answer those here. And those are the emails that are listed. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending Big Info. And we're happy to use the remaining time to answer any Q&A. So Michael, you might want to take this one. How many points is it recommended to get in writing part of IELTS? As an international student, I understand that the minimum grade is overall band 6.5, but to follow classes at BCIT, I guess it needs to be more than 6.5. So what do you say is recommended?
Roger. Yes, so the requirement for the programs is 6.5 overall, and the programs at BCIT are, they're very intensive, and you will be studying. It could be 25 to 30 hours a week in class. So the workload is very high. If your reading or writing skills are not up to par, they're not strong enough, then you may experience some difficulty in keeping up with the workload. So yes, I would recommend at minimum that you have an IELTS 6.5 in writing. We do have students who have IELTS 6.0 in writing, and many of them do succeed. But again, if you're aiming to start the program and complete it, with good grades, then try to get your English grades up as high as possible before you start.
Thank you so much, Michael. Here's an ICS question from Francisco. I have a lawyer degree issued by a non-English country. If my university sends you a transcript, disappeared.
Oh, somebody probably answered it in writing.
Oh, it might have been answered. Okay, just to clarify, yes, official documents that need to be translated, they're only sent by email or sent to our office. Then what happens is the client applies to us, and then we send them those documents to be translated further. So once an applicant applies and we match documents up, we can certainly send those documents that are been sent in the original language back to the client for translation.
I answered that one, Roger.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mary. Some other questions?
I did see another one there. Was there any change in the business management advanced diploma full-time? Website says that full-time courses start twice a year, September and January. I'm not aware of any change to that. I believe that only the part-time option allows you to take courses throughout the year. So that would also include probably the May term. But otherwise, you would be starting only in September or January in the full-time advanced diploma. I'll take the next question, I guess. I want to apply in biology and technology program, but I haven't taken physics 12. Can I use physics 11 instead? I'm assuming that you mean the biomedical engineering program. Biomedical engineering technology, the program requirement is physics 12. So if you only have physics 11, you would not qualify. You would need to have physics 12. Okay, I guess I'll field the next question as well. How many spots for computer systems technology in both Burnaby and Vancouver campuses? The number is fluctuating a bit from term to term, and we do have 2 intakes of the computer systems technology, and one in September, one in January. And the number of seats for international, I believe, is 30 seats per intake. So 30 in September, 30 in January. Here's another question. Tracy, maybe we'll get you or your team to respond to that. Is the Duolingo English test also valid to apply for my study permit? I'm not sure. I wasn't aware that the English test was a requirement for a study permit. When we accept you, and we will accept the Duolingo test still, but when we accept you, we will issue a letter of acceptance, and the letter of acceptance is what you require to apply for your study permit. I'm not aware that there's an English test requirement. Tracy?
I'm wondering if this is a student from Oscar. Are you applying through SES stream? Or maybe, well, I mean, English requirement, I'm not aware as a prerequisite to apply for study permit. However, there's a immigration program. It's the student direct stream, which has 7 countries on the list. And there is a specific requirement, and English requirement is one of them. So I would say that probably to ask us question, you may need to clarify depending on where you're applying from and whether those are part of SDS application.
Tracy, I can confirm. And sorry, I'm just jumping in. So yes, you're correct. Study permit applications in general do not require an English assessment exam. But if the student is applying through the student direct stream, in particular from China, India, Morocco, Pakistan, the Philippines, Senegal, and Vietnam, there is an English test requirement. And for English, only IELTS is accepted. And for French, the TEF is accepted.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Tamina. Next question. What about CELPIP? Would it be accepted by a BCIT? No, the CELPIP is really more for immigration purposes. I would say it's equivalent to the IELTS general test. So next question, what is the equivalence of English course required for CST and IELTS? I'm not exactly sure how to interpret that question, but what I can tell you is the minimum requirement for IELTS is, for the CST program, the minimum requirement is IELTS 6.5. However, it's a very competitive program. If you only have the minimum requirement for English and math, then it may be challenging for you to get accepted to that program. The grade 12 requirement, the English grade 12 requirement is 67%. Xavier is asking, I am a Canadian citizen, but I have a high school diploma and a trade diploma obtained 25 years ago outside Canada. The original diplomas, but the relevant schools don't provide transcripts after 10 to 12 years. Would the diplomas without the transcripts suffice to apply to a trade? I guess it would depend on the trade and the entrance requirements for that, Xavier. That's probably a question that program advising would have to look more deeply into to be able to respond to you. I think we have time for maybe one more question. Can I take a bachelor degree when taking biomedical technology program? There is an honors in biomedical engineering, and that's a joint program with the University of British Columbia. So I believe you first have to apply to UBC and take 1 year of general science courses. Then you come to BCIT for 2 years for biomedical engineering, and then you go back to UBC for 2 more years of biomedical engineering. Okay, and Oscar did clarify, so he is applying from India for the Communication Design Essentials course. So yes, Oscar, then you would need an IELTS score to qualify for the SDS program. Leon, I think we're past the 8 o'clock mark. Are we okay to continue? I'm just going to continue.
I think we can continue.
Okay, thanks, Tracy. Songlu asks, I need to upgrade my pre-cal 12. Should I take technology entry program? It is an option, Songlu. It is one option, and it really depends on your timing. If you're going to take tech entry in January, they would offer the pre-cal in January. But it depends on what program you're going to apply to, whether or not the tech entry would finish in time for you to be able to meet the deadline to apply. So, for example, if it's the computer systems technology program you want to apply to, I think the application deadline is early March, and the tech entry would finish after that. So if that's the case, and if you only need pre-cal 12, then you could just take either the BCIT math course, I believe it's Math 0001, or one of the math courses from one of the other post-secondary institutions, or even the high schools, adult education courses. Okay. Is there a program I can keep studying for a bachelor degree after finishing new media design program, like D3 can apply for business? Is it available to transfer to any similar program at UBC or SFU after new media design? I'm sorry, we really can't answer questions about that. I'm not sure if UBC or SFU would accept students out of our new media program. And at BCIT, I'd have to double check to see if the BBA, I believe there is a pathway from the new media design program or the D3 program to go into the BBA. What about CLB, as I have CLB certificate from BCC? Sorry, no, Kayvan, we don't accept this Canadian language benchmarks. You would need to go with one of the larger scale standardized tests. Sajad, is industrial experience mandatory to get admission for automotive service technician co-op? No, it's not. There's no experience required whatsoever. You do have to pass a mechanical reasoning test, And also, Sajad, just so you know, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the co-ops have had to be canceled in the automotive service technician and operations program. So until we return to more normal circumstances, we are only able to offer the non-co-op option of the ASTO program. Ashi asks, I got my high school degree in Iran 20 years ago and have the original certificate and transcripts and also English translation. Is it acceptable for BCIT or do I have to translate it here? As long as it's a notarized translation, Ashi, you should be fine. Okay, it has to have a notary stamp on it. If not, then you would have to have it translated again with an official notarized stamp. Okay, we have another question. I cannot have pre-cal 12 grade by the deadline, but my pre-cal 11 grade is very high. Does it help me when applying to CST without pre-cal grade 12? No, sorry. You absolutely need to meet the minimum requirement, which is pre-cal 12. So if there are tests for grade 12 math at BCIT, or there's a course as well, but you would not be able to apply to the program, or you would not be able to complete your application to the program if you didn't have the grade 12 pre-cal. Another question, the admission for CST is competitive. So what IELTS score surely gets admission? That's the very common question. Unfortunately, we can't give an absolute response to that because it always depends on who else is applying to the program. So if we get 100 applications and 50 of them have IELTS 7.5, then I would say that you have to have 8 to get into that program. If we have the majority of the students have a 6.5, then I would say if you really want to be sure, then you should have a 7. So there's no way for us to tell you absolutely what IELTS score you need to get into that program. And it is not only the IELTS. What they do is take your English and your math score, they combine them, take an average, and then they rank you in comparison to the other international students. So if you have 100% in math, grade 12, and I would say like an 8 in IELTS, I would say that you're pretty sure to get a seat. Otherwise it's impossible for us to say what the absolute requirements are for that program, or what scores you need to ensure that you would be accepted. Just do your best, try to get the highest math and English scores you can, apply, and then it's up to who else is applying to the program. Octavio, I want to study business fundamentals, then business management advanced diploma, finding a Bachelor of Business Administration. Is this a valid pathway? And is there any way to apply for a study permit for the 3 continuous years from the beginning? I'm not sure if you can go straight from I see somebody else answered the question.
I did answer the question, Michael, and I'm sorry to interrupt. This is Tamina speaking. So I did answer your question in written format, but I'm also going to reiterate verbally. Each program that you've indicated has its own admissions process. It's a standalone credential program. And so each program would have you, apply to the program, be admitted, apply for your initial study permit, and with each laddering credential, you would be required to extend your study permit.
Thank you, Tamina. Okay, last question. Because this year VSB changes the system to 4 quarters, like pre-cal 12 is in quarter 3, which kind of impossible for me to change the schedule. Yeah, I'm sorry. I understand that there are challenges when programs have been high school programs have had to change their schedules. There are other options for meeting the entrance requirements, and I would, suggest that you consider taking one of the math tests, or, possibly another math course. So I think we're going to wrap it up now. It's 8:10 and the questions have slowed down a bit. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining us this evening. It was a quick, big info session. We normally would do this on site, of course, and be there for 3 hours answering questions. But if you do have any questions after this session, please feel free to reach out to us at one of our emails, one of the international email addresses. Tracy, did we list those?
Yeah, the slides right now, if you have a question related to entrance requirement admissions, that's the first international_admissions at bcit.ca. If you have a question related to your state requirement or immigration requirement related to international student, you can send us email isc_info@bcit. And if you have question on credential evaluation services, I saw there was a last question with WES, and this is the question you should send it to icsinfo@bcit.ca.
So thank you all to all the staff who supported us this evening as well. And I will bid you all a good evening. Thank you.